Alright, we'll go with the last example here. Juggling problem. A juggler tosses a ball into the air. Keyword, he tosses into the air. What kind of problem did we deal with before? Remember I dropped something off a building, right? Just dropped it. Hit the ground. But if you toss something, there's something going on. It's more than just dropping, right? So the ball leaves the juggler's hand at 4 feet above ground and has an initial vertical velocity of 40 feet per second. So, since he tossed it, there is something called velocity working on the ball. So that's the difference between the dropping. I don't throw it with the velocity, right? So, the juggler catches the ball when it falls back at 3 feet. How long is the ball in the air? So, this is a little bit different. It doesn't say when does the ball hit the ground. If it did, then you'd say, oh, the equals 0, right? But here's the formula you have to know, and remember, I will not give this to you on the quiz or test. So here's your formula for, we'll say, not toss problems, but problems with initial velocity. Okay, so problems with a velocity, you would say this: the height of an object is equal to, let's see, negative 16 t squared, just like last time, plus v, little sub-zero here, that means, you probably guess, plus h sub-zero. Look at the only differences between this equation and the dropped equation is this right here. V means initial velocity. Everything else means the same thing. T, we have to have a T here, T for time in seconds. H sub-zero means initial height, and T is time again in seconds, and then this H is the final height after T seconds. Doesn't matter how long. Okay, after 1 second, here's your final height. Okay, what's the final height? You know, what is H when I say when it hits the ground? Well then, oh, the final height is 0. But that's not this case right here. So here, pay attention to this. Vertical velocity of 40 feet per second. Well, velocity of 40 feet per second. So, I'll write it down here. Negative 16 t squared plus v0 t plus h sub 0. All you have to do is fill in the numbers we see. Okay, the ball leaves the hand at 4 feet above the ground. That is your initial height right here. It leaves his hand, so plus 4. 40 feet per second, well, that's your velocity, so we have to write 40, but there's a t here, so we have to have t right here, 40t, plus, we don't know time, so negative 16 t squared. So far we know our velocity, we know our initial height is 4 feet of the juggler's hand, but then there's a second part. The juggler catches the ball when it falls back to 3 feet. 3 feet, he throws it up, he catches it. That's his final height of the ball is equal to 3 feet. Now I could change up the question, say, when does the ball hit the ground? Then this would be 0, but it's not. Okay, so be ready for anything that I throw at you. Here we go. All you have to do now is solve this thing. So minus 3, always make it equal to 0, or just about always. So 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 40t, and then this becomes plus 1. All you have to do is solve this. You could use quadratic formula. You could use complete the square. It's not going to factor. So one of those two things you're going to have to use. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, putting this in the quadratic formula, I just put the A, B, and C in here. So negative b plus minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. What I did first though is I simplified this and got 1664. Now here's what you need to do to put it in the calculator. Don't type all this in at one time, please. You don't even need to simplify this. This is how long is the ball in the air. This is another one you can round, like 3.5 seconds or whatever it is. Just type, here's how you'd want to type it in. Do this one, do this part. Negative 40 plus root 1664, type that in your calculator. Don't put divide by negative 32 because you'll forget to put parentheses. So just type in negative 40 plus this, enter, get a number, and then hit divide by negative 32, enter again, and you should get some number. And then do negative 40 minus root square root of 1664. Enter, divide by negative 32, enter, and get another number. So get two numbers right now. So your answers that I got are negative 0.02, there's your first answer, and then 2.52 is your next answer. But you can't have both these answers. It's how long is the ball in the air. There's only one answer here. 2.52. It can't be negative time, right? So 2.52 seconds it's in the air. And that makes sense, right? I mean, he throws the ball up and then he catches it. 2.52 seconds, that makes sense, right? If you got 100 seconds, you should think, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so double check that. All right, that's how you do these vertical motion problems. But I need to tell you something else. Okay, let me just tell you this. What if I said I'm playing volleyball, nice picture, and I hit the ball, here's the ball, and I hit it down at 40 feet per second. That's a whole different equation, okay? So that is basically you can have, so here's what people get wrong. I'm just telling you ahead of time. Please mark this down, okay? Negative 16t squared minus what am I saying? V sub 0 t plus h sub 0. Here you go. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is velocity could be negative, and it is negative. Everybody puts a plus just because, 40 feet per second, okay, plus 40. No, if I hit a volleyball down, that means it's negative 40. So right here you would have negative 40 t. Okay, please write that down because I'll probably give that to you. Okay, that's basically it. Everything else is the same. You solve the same, but velocity, if I'm throwing it up, it's positive. If I'm throwing it down, it's negative. Remember that.